Hey, oh my God, girl, it took you forever to get here. We were having some technical OBS difficulties. Wipe your face. Let me wipe your face. You too. Wipe your. Hey, thank you for the thumbs up. Yes. My face look ashy. It is. I can tell. I can look at it and be like, ooh, because if I put some of this on my lips, you can tell how ashy my face is. Let me get it together. Let me get it together. I didn't have time. You see, I thought it was ashy. I'm gonna rub it in. Ooh. Watch the glow up. You wasn't ashy? I took a bath yesterday because I wanted to make sure that March got its shower. And so I was like, oh, today is the last day for March. Let me go ahead and get me a shower. Hold on real quick before I get to Candace because he printed some. I told y'all about that 3D. Come on.
This is part 5 of trying to convince my wife my 3D printer wasn't a waste of money.
Hold on. Let me get your screen straight. Just minimize. And let me see. Jade Ward. I need to subscribe at this point. I'm subscribed. Go.
Because she recently dropped the lid to her crock pot and shattered the handle. Let's 3D print something to fix that. Taking apart the lid, we see that there is a screw along with this clear washer that seals it from the inside. And then on the handle side, we see this brass-colored threaded insert that is embedded into the plastic. I used a special method to remove it called brute forcing it with all the wrong tools, which was a massive pain, but eventually we got it out without dinging it up too badly. The original handle looked similar to this, but instead I used Tinkercad's Revolve tool to sketch out a profile that I think would make for a better handle. I made it flat on the top so the lid can lay upside down without falling over and getting condensation everywhere. And I'm intentionally leaving a gap in between the handle and the glass and holes in the top so that water can't get trapped under there when washing the lid. The last thing we have to do is model the hole for the threaded insert. I printed out a few test holes to get the fit just right and then added it to our model, and we are ready for the final print. A lot of you have been big fans of the red color I've used for some previous projects, and I think it's going to match the crock pot absolutely perfectly. I'm just kidding. I'll be using some jet black PET G. This was my first time inserting hardware into one of my designs mid-print, and it was honestly pretty satisfying to pause the print, slide the threaded insert perfectly in the slot, and then watch the printer continue printing right on top of it, locking it into place. Some quick support removal later, and we have our handle. Let's screw it all into place, and then I'll reveal one more hidden feature that I added to this thing. The handle looks and works great, and really looks like it's just part of the original crockpot. And turn it around, and you have a nice little clip to hold the meat thermometer, so we don't have to lay it on the counter. The wife approves, so we live to print another day. This is part 5 of trying to convince my wife my 3D printer wasn't...
I love him. Him and that 3D printer, John. Look. Ooh. She dropped some off into me. Oh, man. All right, come on. We're going to get the candy. We're going to get the candies. Let me give me a thumbs up real quick, real fast. Real quick, real fast. Let me give me a thumbs up real quick, real fast. Mic check. Goodness. Real quick, real fast. Yes. We're going to finish Candace. See, she right there. Thank you for the subscribe. She's still we're gonna finish Candace. See, she right there. The camera on the algorithm. She's still there on the algorithm. Okay, I'm coming right back to Candace. The camera, so we can get started. Okay, come on.
These viral Paleo Belly beef sticks are on sale right now for
30 beef sticks for $36.
These are the most delicious beef sticks on the market. There are.
All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I'm going to start the show by letting you know that there is a friendship that you need to know about. A very close friendship, one that has spanned across decades. The friendship goes back to 1976. That's very sweet, actually. I don't know many people that can say they've been friends with someone for over 50 years.
What was you talking about, Bibi Netanyahu in United States? I don't know. I'm just guessing. Hold on. Let me fix your face. Oh, let me. Who is she talking about? Let me fix it.
These two men can. They go
She not talking about Trump.
back to Boston, where the two of them worked together. I mean, these two men, some might say, are ride or die.
Let me check these stats real quick. What we at? 225. But okay. Slow start.
Even an emphasis on the die. Do you guys know who I'm referring to?
No, who?
Don't worry, because I'm about to tell you. Welcome back to Candace.
Who she talking about? She was talking about Trump. Should I look at the thumbnail? Oh, give me a good hint.
All right, you guys. This is Baron Coleman often says on his show that it's a high IQ outfit. You can't watch Baron Coleman's show unless you're high IQ. I have to extend that to tonight's show. You need notebooks. This is an AP class. This is now advanced placement, okay? Advanced placement, Candace's podcast. So one of the things that I have been perpetually haunted by, and I've explained this to you many times, is that final phone call that Charlie had with Bibi Netanyahu. The one that took place in the Hamptons, the one that nobody, while they were authoring these long-winded tweets explaining that we didn't do nothing, tweets that were overseen by lawyers and PR agents, no one wanted to address Bibi Netanyahu's call. Charlie described it, as I told you, as an intervention over the topic of Israel. Bibi offered, as I said, to take Turning Point to the next level. And what troubles me is not knowing the answer. In exchange for what? I mean, how much money would it take to bring an organization that is already pulling in $100 million per year to the next level? And also, where was this money going to come from? How are they going to generate that sort of an income? How could they know they were going to make that kind of money? I have an idea that it may have been guaranteed from, like, war profiteering, war in Iran, particularly the issue that Bibi and Charlie were butting heads about. War, as I told you a couple of days ago, is a big business, not just a big business, the biggest business on earth. And it's also a overtly political business. Next thing we know, Charlie is dead. Turning Point USA is trying to twist and reimagine his legacy as pro-war in the Middle East, war in Iran, and Bibi is doing the most, right? Bibi is doing the rounds, saying, I didn't...
Huh?
I said I forgot to rinse it out. We're eating this though.
Forgot to rinse what out?
The bowl.
What bowl?
This bowl or this spoon. I don't know which one it is, but you know that soap.
him immediately when no one initially thought that he killed him until he said he didn't kill him.
Exactly.
And we thought, did you kill him?
Right.
It wasn't me, he said. But of course, as we thought further, I couldn't establish a connection between Bibi Netanyahu and Utah, right? Israel and Utah. Even though, as I began prodding the narrative of the Egyptian plains, it was revealed to me that there clearly is a connection to Israel and Utah. But why? How is this working? What's Bibi got to do with Provo? Does he have anything to do with Provo? Something was clearly missing, and then that something presented itself in the form of this lifelong friendship. Now, it would be difficult for me to overstate to you just how close Bibi Netanyahu is to Mitt Romney. Yeah, that Mitt Romney, the former senator of Utah, the one-time presidential nominee who ran against Barack Obama, the co-founder and the former CEO of Bain Capital. I mean, frankly, if I wanted to, I could do an entire series on his 50-year friendship with Bibi Netanyahu, their intense political support for one another, counseling to one another, a friendship which began, like I told you, back in 1976, when they were both working for the Boston Consulting Group. I mean, look, I'll just show you this quickly. This article in the New York Times back in 2012 says a friendship dating to 1976 resonates in 2012, and that is about, and it goes in, and you should read it, about their remarkable friendship. Now, let's just keep that there. I want you to park that in the back of your mind. Romneys are a very powerful family in Utah. And I want you to park that information in the back of your mind, A, because I just can't believe I forgot it. It was somewhere, somewhere in a database, but it just kind of evaded me for a bit. But as we go forward, this information is going to become increasingly relevant as we revisit various aspects regarding certain individuals on September 10th that we had mentioned. Let's at first go back to the hospital, okay? I'm told actually it's pronounced Timpanogos, okay? Timpanogos Hospital. It's always been very strange to me, the setting. Increasingly strange to me that we have no eyewitnesses inside of the hospital regarding September 10th. I mean, just randos that should be in the ER lobby, right? All of Turning Point, the staff that was there that day went over to the lobby. Not everybody went into the back, but they were there, right? We're talking about an emergency room. People go there all the time. Your kid breaks in, everyone's racing in the emergency room. I'm not saying it needs to be like totally packed, but I'm saying there should just be a few strays hanging around that can tell me something about it. And as I reflect 6 months later, it's almost as if the emergency room had been completely cleared for Turning Point USA. We'll never know, of course, because when Kash Patel arrived, he had the FBI immediately seize the footage from inside the hospital. What a bizarre priority, right? Makes no sense. You got a manhunt, you're in the midst of a manhunt. Why would you grab footage before Charlie was brought inside?
Because they know it's going to go to world.
I think if I was on Tyler Robinson's defense, I would probably want that footage. I'd say you have that. I'd like to see it. Anyway, journalist Elizabeth Lane, that's the one who has been positing that Erica Kirk is a psychopath. She did another long post the other day on X, and she was actually a journalist that was on the ground that day. She went to Utah Valley Hospital, and she sent her colleague over to Timpanogos, and they were just staging outside, waiting for something to happen. And she was sort of remarking about how odd it was that they had locked down both hospitals, something that I brought up to you, right? They locked down both hospitals. The excuse that was given to the public was because the shooter was going from hospital to hospital looking for Charlie Kirk. But you know what? That's never actually been clarified. Who exactly were they referring to? What we do know is that shortly after that came over, the police scanner, might be going from hospital to hospital, they moved to detain a young man named Zachariah Qureshi.
Yes.
We almost forget. But it was after Zachariah was detained that Kash Patel rather gloriously issued a tweet which effectively ended the manhunt prematurely. In many ways, we should start to think of Zachariah Qureshi as decoy boy number 2. Okay, first it was George Zinn, jumped up and down immediately and said, I did it.
With his pants.
He would later tell people at Utah Valley, where he was being treated, that he was paid to do that. I wonder if the FBI is interested in that tidbit that I have said on the show. And I'm telling you that's what happened. That was the first time that the responding police officers who said they felt like they were intentionally being sent all around were sent essentially off of the trail of the true assassin. But next came the public declaration from our director of the FBI, which held a lot more weight, claiming officially that they had the guy. He wrote this at 4:21 p.m. Mountain Standard, so almost exactly 4 hours to the minute that Charlie was shot. Kash Patel authored this tweet. The subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Thank you to the local and state authorities in Utah for your partnership with the FBI. We will provide updates when able.
To high IQ men earning less than their friends who barely passed high school. You watch guys you grew up with buying houses, making...
Okay. Well, you imagine if you are a responding police officer and you see that the director of FBI has tweeted that, you just stop looking. Anything that looks shady, you don't care. It doesn't matter. I guess it's over. We got him. Great news. And that's how it stayed for an hour and a half. Kash Patel's mistake provided the true assassin or the assassins an hour and a half buffer to get away. Police wrapping up. No reason to continue looking, right? Until finally at 5:59 p.m., he clarified, he announced on X that, never mind, here's what he said. The subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. Well done, Kash. Well done. Again, no further information was provided as to why this particular individual was detained in the first place. Who is this guy? Who is Zachariah Qureshi? I wondered. Also, is there any chance, I know it's crazy, but is there any chance there's going to be another military connection?
Of course it is.
Well, apparently I'm a little late to the party because I was talking to Baron Coleman this weekend, and he's like, yeah, I did an episode on Zachariah Qureshi. You should check that out. And I would say this to you guys, that you're not going to believe this, but you probably will. You probably will actually believe this. Zach's father, Zachariah's father, is actually an 06 in the military. You remember that term. I was getting familiar with it and fumbled over my words. Mitch Snow, he said he saw this meeting conclude with a bunch of 05s and 06s coming out of Fort Huachuca. Well, Ahmed Qureshi, that is Zachariah's father, he is an 06 in the Navy. That means he's a commanding officer. That's the equivalent to a colonel in the Air Force. And he has extensive ties to the Middle East as well, I might add. You might have gathered that from his name. But let's take a look at Ahmed's LinkedIn because it is relevant. Again, this is Decoy Boy number 2's dad. Okay, let's check this out. It lists Ahmed first and foremost, as you can see here, as the president and COO of Built Incorporated, which is based in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. And I just want to honorably mention here that Texas seems to be a very common theme in this investigation. I think by now we all suspect, given the planes traveling that day, also the planes the day before from Fort Huachuca, that there may be a Texas play in Charlie Kirk's assassination, just like there was a Texas play in JFK's assassination, I might add. CIA ran an operation out of Texas. Anyway, what does Built Incorporated do? That's interesting, right? It tells us that the award-winning Built app provides 3D interactive and XR immersive intelligent instructions that are voice and text guided. Beginning with a product overview, Built includes tools that are required, parts included, and gently directs the procedures step by step. So we have some sort of an intelligent app that is 3D and immersive that can be used. Okay, so what does that mean? And more importantly, what does it mean in the context of a man who has spent 26 plus years in the military? Again, Ahmed Qureshi is currently a commanding officer in the military. We can see that by clicking through to his profile. He's an 06, which means he's not a small cheese, okay? Right there on his profile, it lets us know that he is the commanding officer, the headquarters of the East Coast. I don't know what the RC stands for, continental U.S. It tells us he's a captain and that he it has all the dates here from May 2024 to present. You can see he's been 06 for a while. Previously, he was 05. Now, since the military is not a past life, but a current life for Ahmed, we can assume that whatever he's doing for Built does not conflict with his job in the military. In fact, we can further assume that Built is somehow related to his job in the military because his LinkedIn also informs us that Ahmed co-founded Built back in 2015 when he was full-time as an 05. So Built's been a company for a decade. And you should know that this company receives funding from the Department of Defense. Okay, contracts from the Department of Defense. And curiously enough, Built received a large injection of cash, over $7 million.
Hello, Romello. I'm sorry.
To be more exact, at a very interesting time. And I'm going to let Baron Coleman explain to you their curious pattern of federal funding that came in for Built from its inception to today. Take a listen.
Go.
This is the company that Zachariah Qureshi's father works for.
Okay.
This is Built. I'm getting this directly off of USA Spending, right? USA Spending has all the federal expenditures that they can legally put up here or on here.
Okay.
Like a contract.
We got some coins.
This is Built. They get their first little contract is a $50,000 contract way back in 2019. 2019, they just get a little $50,000 contract, got a 3-month pop period of performance, just 3 months, $50,000, but it gets them going, right? They're off the ground running. Then they get this next contract here, and it's big, $3.1 million.
3.2.
This $3.1 million contract
3.2. Round it up.
was all the way back in 2020.
Okay. The
So
next
after
year.
that, we're going to show you here the timeline just because it'll get you there. after 2020, we've got a series of contracts here
All the way to
that, frankly, just aren't that big.
Okay.
I mean, they're big. They're big for like a single family income, but if you're trying to run a business, they're not huge. We've got 185,000. We've got 49,000. But we get this big $3.1 million contract way back in 2020. And then we got just a series over the next few years of smaller contracts. Just a little 1 million, but again, nothing major, nothing crazy. Until this one.
Ooh,
Boom!
4.9,
2.4. Well, when the hell were these contracts?
Right, back to back like that.
When were these contracts?
5 and 7, 8, 5, 2 and 2.5. Round it up.
I'll tell you what, I'll be really suspicious if these contracts were in the planning phases of the Charlie Kirk event at Utah Valley University.
Between what, June and July? Or 20,
I'll be really suspicious because we said the Utah Valley University event was probably beginning to be planned around June. The exiting of Charlie Kirk from this mortal plane, we estimated, based on our investigation, started around March or April.
Okay.
And really heated up in June and July.
Right.
So when were these massive $7.5 million worth of contracts on a company who had not had much more than one single contract of any value in the previous 4 or 5 years? When was this one? Let's look here. It's these, I'll make it the top 2 lines.
Okay.
Let's look together and see when these 2 contracts were. Up June 1 and June 16 of 2025. June 1 and June 16 of 2025.
Hi, I'm Brett. And I'm Jonathan. This is Darla.
And also the top one as well. I can show you here on the website that the BILT was awarded that money from the Department of Defense. Particularly from the Air Force. The majority came in from the Air Force. $7.4 million from the Air Force and just under $250,000 from the Navy, bringing the total actually closer to $8 million that came in to them in June of this year. And it's about to get even more interesting. This is me building on what Barron researched, and I wish I had seen this earlier.
Right.
Because Ahmed, remember, Zachariah's dad, he's listed as a co-founder of BILT.
Oh.
Who did he co-found this with? Who's his business partner? Who's the other half of this intelligence app that got a nice injection of cash from the Air Force in June? That would be a man named Nathan Henderson. And don't worry, guys, I, of course, will have a graphic for you at the end so you can screenshot and save it and study it, and it will look really clean because it's very significant that you know these names. Because when I learned that Nathan Henderson was the co-founder, I suddenly realized that there was a weird crossover. Because I had looked into Zachariah Qureshi, and I remembered the name Nathan Henderson living in the same house as him. Like they were all living in the same house down in Keller, Texas. Both the Henderson family and the Qureshi family. Now, it's possible the business owned the company, vacation rental, I don't know. They do live in Texas. It's also possible maybe the Hendersons sold the house to the Quereshis or vice versa. But what is not up for debate is that both families were living in the same house down in Keller, Texas. And that Nathan Henderson, the co-founder, is married to a woman named Gina Romney. Okay? Gina Romney Henderson is relevant because she, too, works at the BILT Corporation. She's the vice president of their user experience. You can see that here on her LinkedIn. And they also have a son, a young man named Connor Henderson. Connor went to the same school at the same time as Zachariah Qureshi, so their sons go to school together. To put it to you another way, the co-founders of the BILT company, who lived in the same house and worked at the same place, also sent their sons to the same school at the same time, BYU. Okay? They graduated within a year of one another. And their sons both interned at the BILT company. Now, my suspicion is that Connor and Zachariah probably know each other, and you're never going to guess where Connor was working this summer, right? Connor had been working as an emergency room department scribe. I can confirm. Go ahead. Timpanogos. Timpanogos Emergency Room. Okay, now, in case you are unaware of what an emergency room scribe does, they are essentially the physician's personal assistant in charge of taking notes and handling the charting and clerical work for the doctors in that emergency setting. That was Connor's job from 2024 until, and that's only if his LinkedIn is to be believed, just before Charlie's assassination or maybe even just after Charlie's assassination. I'm wondering if he actually quit on September 10th. I'm wondering if he was working beneath Dr. Lee Trotter. It's a lead that should be pursued. Anyway, it's time to show you guys a nice, clean chart since we are pulling together a lot of new names. It will help you visually see these connections to the Built Corporation, Built Incorporated, pardon. So you can see this also, I should mention, Gina Romney also went to BYU. BYU keeps coming up, and I'm about to drop some bombshells for you about BYU's connection to Israel in particular. Anyways, do you know what, regarding Miss Gina Romney, I have to tell you guys, that is the third time in this investigation that the Romney name has come up. I hadn't spoken about it before because I just thought, well, it's the Romney family. They're big in Utah. That's not that weird until I realized how close Mitt Romney was to Bibi Netanyahu. And I just found myself wondering, if they talked about Charlie at all. After he was really frustrated with Charlie over the Iran war, I found myself wondering, and then I realized that all of these connections to the Romney I should probably share with you. And this very weird connection to BYU in particular. You're going to be shocked at what I learned about BYU, and I'm not going to say allegedly in this next portion because I know it for a fact. We're going to talk about the CIA and what they have to do with that Utah University when we get back from a brief break. All right, you guys, thanks to you, last year Preborn helped to rescue over 80,000 babies, and today you can help save even more. Every single day, thousands of women hear the same devastating lie that abortion is their only option, that they're alone, that there's no hope. But everything changes the moment a mother that's in crisis walks into a Preborn network clinic and she sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears her baby's heartbeat for the first time. That one moment doubles her chance of choosing life because she realizes that there is an actual life that's growing inside of her. And it's not a problem that needs to be solved, but a human that needs to be protected. So let's be there for her in that beautiful moment with love, prayer, and support. For just $28, you can provide one life-saving ultrasound, and $140 provides 5 ultrasounds, and 5 chances, therefore, for life. This year, let's make it the biggest baby-saving year in history. Take a stand, be bold, speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/Candace. Again, that's preborn.com/Candace. I also want to remind you guys about Field of Greens because way before the food industry failed us and started making low-quality foods and hiding behind nutrition labels, one thing was always true. Organic fruits and vegetables are the superfoods that your body needs. Fast food tastes great for like 20 seconds, but then the junk and inflammation that flows is trashing your system. It keeps you tired and weak. That's why you need to check out fieldofgreens.com. Field of Greens is 100% organic fruits and vegetables that are dehydrated and ground into a fine powder. Every ingredient was selected to support your most important organs in your body, like your liver, kidneys, heart, and lungs. This is the easiest health upgrade that you can make. 1 scoop a day and you will feel the difference. Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health or you'll get your money back. Get 20% off with promo code Candace at checkout when you visit fieldofgreens.com today. Again, that's fieldofgreens.com with promo code Candace at checkout.
This family has been filling and filling their Mill food recycler for a week now. And yet, it's still not full. 8 days? 9 days? Nope. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? Not even close. That's because the Mill food recycler works automatically while you sleep, shrinking nearly any food scraps into clean, dry, nutrient-rich grounds. So you can keep filling it and filling it and filling it for up to 4 weeks until, wait for it. And somehow, after all that time, Mill doesn't smell at all. You can use the grounds to feed your garden, add them to your green bin, or Mill can get them to a small farm for you. This brings us back around to where we started, and the circle continues. Mill, it's still not full.
you want to wear them. Oh, that must be inside.
I see a lot of you guys in the chat noting that Tyler Robinson looks a lot like Connor. That was something that Baron pointed out, and people that watched this episode have pointed out as well. I'm just showing you factual pictures of the players, and I will leave it at the facts. Now, fact is that the Romneys are an exceedingly powerful family in Utah. Okay, I am talking generational power. Romney grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, extraordinary amount of wealth. Everybody knows that. You speak to any person that lives in Utah, they will tell you that. And they're also extraordinarily powerful in Mexico as well. There was a Mormon colony that moved down there. And yeah, just put that in the back of your mind. Like I said, the Romney names come up in my research a few times, just like Texas was coming up in my research a few times. And so we have the Koreshis, the Hendersons that are coming out of Texas. Our Plains are coming out of Texas. So did, I should mention, and here's where it gets interesting, our brand spanking new CEO of Timpanogos. Don't think I forgot about Andrew Zenger. Remember, he was appointed the CEO of Timpanogos just ahead of Charlie's assassination. It was August 19th. And curiously enough, before that, he was down in Texas. He had previously been working down in McKinney, Texas, as the COO of Medical City, which is north of Dallas. Oh, that's everyone just, I know Texas is big, but man, yanked and brought back up there. Yeah, that's what they did, just like I said, ahead of September 10th. Now, of course, Andrew Zenger, just like Koreshi and Henderson and our Gina Romney, he attended BYU. And it really made me wonder, like, what the heck goes on at BYU? And fortunately, someone told me. Again, I am not saying allegedly here. So you can take this to the bank. BYU has direct ties to the CIA. They recruit directly from BYU. And I am saying this with 100% certainty. It is not a conspiracy. And what is even more odd is that they recruit specifically from BYU Jerusalem in Israel, which is exactly where Andrew Zenger attended school. He lived in Jerusalem. And I'm now going to tell you that BYU, the Jerusalem Center, this person told me, is where the elite of the Mormon culture, the cream of the pie, they get introduced to one another. It's where the elite Mormon youth are introduced to also the Knesset, okay? Hollywood culture, political culture, and where many of them are then approached in Jerusalem, Israel, by their teachers, who I should mention, the director of the program is Israeli, to work for the CIA. Could you imagine being approached to work for the CIA in Jerusalem by Israelis? Notice, again, I am not saying allegedly here. I know this for a fact. I cannot be sued for this. This is factual. Andrew Zenger was out there, and he was out there, I should mention, during Mitt Romney presidential election season. He was also good friends with a guy named Jeffrey Knuckles, who was out there as well, who later served as an advisor to the Romney campaign. He was also friendly, and a person that was out there was a guy named Caleb Cunningham, who was also an activist that worked for the campaign. Him, Caleb, and his brother were actually out there in Jerusalem. I want to, again, make it clear, I am not shooting in the dark with this. In fact, I can tell you specifically what the name is of the company that the CIA uses to bring some of this youth talent on board. They specifically use a company, and this will trigger them if they're watching, called Metro One Talent. Metro One Talent. That's how they interview their talents and set them on the path to joining the CIA. Now, there's one more person who is tied to this clan. It's very strange. Why are we recruiting? The question is, was Andrew Zenger recruited? Okay, was Andrew Zenger recruited? I'm telling you that his roommates were. He's got a roommate who did contract work, went on to do contract work for the CIA as well. for the CIA's Department of Education. I didn't even know the CIA had a Department of Education. I actually want to find that person's name just so you understand. I have this as an absolute fact. What was this guy's name? They always switch it with his grandfather. I want to make sure, pull this guy's name up, who was Andrew Zenger's roommate, who went on to work for the CIA. Yes, Michael Sean Covey. That is correct. Sorry, Michael, to put you on blast, but yeah, he contracts with the CIA. It's very interesting. And he, I think, writes books. It's very interesting to tangle. So you're rooming together. Is it a fair question? Is it a fair question to ask if Andrew Zenger was like his roommates over in Jerusalem, recruited to work contractually for the CIA? It's interesting. Now, there is one more person who is tied to the Romney clan who also went to BYU, and we brought him up very early in the investigation. He was one of the first people that I put an APB out for because he was bizarrely standing alongside Shane Lyman. I remember we learned, like, Phil Lyman's whole family owned that block. You know, the cameras of people walking, they were all tied to Caldera Engineering, walking down the block. I don't even think that's Tyler Robinson. Looks to me much more like Lance. And Phil Lyman's nephew and or cousin, Phil Lyman says it's a cousin. Shaner says he's a nephew. But he and some friends uniquely traced the steps of the killer and showed people, this is the footprint. This is, look, he was here. This was on our property that this happened. Let's see those Instagram posts to jog your memory. Remember, Robbie Hild. And I said, he's got he looks, the guy all the way to the right there looks way more to me like the build of the person coming up the stairs. That was the episode that we did. Who are these people, we asked. Why is Robbie Hild, and why are they posting like they have exclusive access? What are the chances that this happened? Look, the footprints. That footprint is mentioned in the document yesterday. The footprints. It wouldn't be hard to make a footprint. You just take someone's shoe and do that. Anyways, like I said earlier on, Instagram post to jog your memory. Remember, Robbie Hild.
He got that big ass phone in his pocket talking about he got a gun down his pants. With that big ass phone.
And I said, he's got he looks, the guy all the way to the right there looks way more to me like the build of the person coming up the stairs. That was the episode that we did. Who are these people, we asked. Why is Robbie Hild, and why are they posting like they have exclusive access? What are the chances that this happened? Look, the footprints. That footprint is mentioned in the document yesterday. The footprints. It wouldn't be hard to make a footprint. You just take someone's shoe and do that. Anyways, like I said earlier on, I put on that APB. I put out that APB for Robbie Hild because we couldn't find his name at the time, and then we did. And I learned from viewers at home that his family is allegedly married into the Romney family. Okay? Now, I cannot find a document where I put this together and put all the information of how Robbie Hild was married into the Romney family. I know across social media they were involved, the campaign. I need to now reestablish that connection. So I will again, because it seems I accidentally deleted that email. If you know how the Hild family is related to the Romney family, please email us at moretips@CandaceOwens.com. Because that would be a stunning connection. Like I said, my memory serves me correctly, that there was a connection between these two families that was established early on that I thought nothing of. And now it matters. And what we know for certain is, like I said, Robbie, he also went to BYU. And he played lacrosse. He appears to have graduated around 2020. And I will leave it at that. But the investigation into Robbie Hild is now opened again.
Girl, is this not the most beautiful shimmer oil that you have ever seen? Like, it is giving goddess. I don't even know if the video did justice. Look how much I've already used. Like, this.
Now, I'm going to transition here because there's so much more that I have learned about how the CIA is paying these people, how they are approaching these people. You're not going to believe me, but the Sears company is also involved. And like I said, some people who are in the deep state are freaking out right now. They're freaking out because I've said Metro One Talent, I'm bringing up Sears, and I'm not saying allegedly. Like I said, I'm not saying allegedly. Someone has come forward with proof of that, and you can take all this information to the bank. But it's interesting that so many Romney campaign people during the time this campaign was going on, this is like 2011 when Andrew Zanger's there and you've got advisors and all these people, are stationed in Jerusalem. Was Bibi helping his friend? Certainly supported his friend. 50 years. Like brothers, I imagine. Anyway, yesterday, to add, this is going to be an ongoing investigation. This is part of the reason why we're going to do next week off. I told you we'll be taking 6 weeks on and 1 week off because this stuff requires so much research and investigation. The team just needs to rest and receive emails. But I do want to mention one more thing to you about this obvious patsy setup with Tyler Robinson. Yesterday, we had mentioned to you that the FBI is bringing back a flawed technique out of retirement in this sort of desperate bid to connect Tyler Robinson's weapon to the alleged bullet that was used to kill Charlie Kirk. I forgot to tell you, however, that when they first began that technique, you're never going to guess when they started that technique, which ended up being flawed and unscientific. Check out this headline in the Washington Post from 2007. FBI's forensic test is full of holes. The article was on to say the science, which is known as comparative bullet lead analysis, was first used after President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. The technique used chemistry to link crime scene bullets to ones that were possessed by suspects on the theory that each batch of lead had a unique elemental makeup. In 2004, however, the nation's most prestigious scientific body concluded that variations in the manufacturing process rendered the FBI's testimony about the science unreliable and potentially misleading. Specifically, the National Academy of Sciences said that decades of FBI statements to jurors linking a particular bullet to those found in the suspect's gun or cartridge box were so overstated that such testimony should be considered misleading under the federal rules of evidence. A year later, the Bureau abandoned the analysis. So the FBI came up with the road chemistry because they needed to match a bullet in the JFK case. Oh my gosh, it's just so amazing. It's amazing that they're bringing that back because Charlie is just lucky, I guess. Lucky that they're getting back into chemistry. Flawed technique. We're going to use it. Don't worry. The ATF says it's inconclusive, which is the best they could do.
Right.
But we needed to do this in 63, and we're going to do it again. And kind of maybe all the same players are involved because we all know who killed JFK. And it wasn't Lee Oswald Harvey. And flawed analysis. And we're going to keep speaking about that flawed analysis that the FBI is now going to try to use because it's ridiculous. They know Tyler Robinson didn't do it. Now, speaking of the last name Robinson, I should mention that Robinson is also a last name, and that's why we will be taking a week off next week, is a last name that the Romney family is married into. Doesn't necessarily mean there's a tie. It's just interesting. Certainly, the Hild family is married into the Robinsons as well. And so we need to become pretty much genealogists and trace everything and all of the connections. And I certainly know, I recall that the Farnsworth family, which also has a ton of the Farnsworth, Carol Farnsworth, Take Down the Camera family, similarly was a part of sort of the Mormon tribe that went down to Chihuahua, Mexico, because polygamy was illegalized, and the backstory is legalized in the United States. And so they said, fine, we'll start our own colony in Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico. And that's where they went. And I know the Farnsworth family and the Romney family were part of the families that went down there. And so I need to do a lot of research now with a little more focus on these family ties. Family ties that could potentially matter in a really big way. Really makes you wonder what, when I said that war is a massive industry and that Charlie stepped on people's toes who trade on war, who do real estate deals before the wars even start. When Charlie put his foot down and said to Trump, do not go to war with Iran, how many players were involved? How many private equity firms wanted Charlie gone? Again, that's a rhetorical question, but I'm interested. And this provides us with a new angle. And like I said, the Egyptian planes kept telling me the story that every time there was like a kerfluffle in Israel, a little war, people are bombing Israel, suddenly these Egyptian planes were carrying someone from Israel to Provo. And my sense was, this is Bibi. This is Bibi hiding in Provo. But I was like, what? Who does Bibi know in Provo? Why would he be in Utah? Again, we will show you all of that. I've been very meticulous about this Egyptian plane spreadsheet. And now this is locking in. He's got a friend. He's got a friend in Utah. If it is Bibi, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying there's a lot of evidence that these planes are in sync with the pattern of when there's bombing campaigns happening toward Israel. Got to get the number one guy out of there.
Here's how I'm doing laundry in 2026. And yeah, it's 2026. We're not using this stuff anymore.
You'd be pretty safe in Provo. They've got a whole underground city in Provo. More on that later. But I wanted to introduce these themes to you because I think they are stunning and I think they are relevant and I do believe that they mean something. These ties mean something. They don't mean nothing, at least. We'll be right back after a brief break. All right, you guys, what if the reason that you are feeling off some days has to do with what's missing from your nutrition? Between work, family, and everything in between, it's not always easy to get enough fruits and vegetables. A Balance of Nature makes that very simple by using real whole food ingredients in an easy daily routine. When you eat whole foods, you take in their phytonutrients, the natural compounds that your body uses to adjust, repair, and respond every single day. Balance of Nature takes produce through a tailored vacuum cold process that stabilizes its phytonutrition. If you've been thinking about giving them a try, a great place to start is with their whole health system bundle that includes their fruit and veggies and their fiber and spice supplements, which gives you 47 ingredients of whole food. Save over 30% when you subscribe at balanceofnature.com. You can join hundreds of thousands of customers in one simple routine that's changing the world. Again, that's balanceofnature.com. Also want to remind you guys about Paleo Valley because I'm always looking for snacks and supplements that are made with real ingredients, nothing weird, nothing artificial, and that's why I have been loving Paleo Valley. Recently, my manager has been nonstop speaking about their salted caramel bone broth protein powder. She puts it in her coffee every single morning, and she swears it tastes like a fancy coffee shop drink. So, of course, I had to try it, and she was right. It blends so smoothly. It adds that rich salted caramel flavor, and you're getting protein as well, which is made from grass-fed bone broth. So it actually supports your skin, your joints, and your gut while you sip your coffee. It feels indulgent, but it's packed with the good stuff. Paleo Valley offers their bone broth protein in a variety of flavors, from our favorite of the salted caramel to savory, original vanilla chocolate, turmeric ginger, and unflavored. So upgrade your protein and your snacks with cleaner, whole food ingredients from Paleo Valley and feel the difference that real food makes. Right now, you can get 20% off your first order at paleovalley.com, and you can use code Candace at checkout. Again, that's paleovalley.com, promo code Candace at checkout. Special shout out goes to President Donald Trump, who today had their little Easter celebration. Erica Kirk was in attendance, and he told her he should sue people that are making fun of her because they're jealous of her. It's like how far they fall, how far they fall. He's like fully Jewish now, I think, he's just like, it's all of the Israelis. Sue if your feelings are hurt. Sue. That's like, I think Ben Shapiro to the show. She should sue her. Anyway, we should watch that clip of what Trump said. Take a listen.
Whoa. She just got bad.
Special shout out goes to President Donald Trump, who today had their little Easter celebration. Erica Kirk was in attendance, and he told her he should sue people that are making fun of her because they're jealous of her. It's like how far they fall, how far they fall. He's like fully Jewish now, I think, he's just like, it's all of the Israelis. Sue if your feelings are hurt. Sue. That's like, I think Ben Shapiro to the show. She should sue her. Anyway, we should watch that clip of what Trump said. Take a listen.
I'm delighted to join the countless Christians across the country and around the world as we prepare to celebrate a thing called Happy Easter. Do we have that? Everyone happy? Anybody that doesn't want, hello, darling. Wow, this is a good table. I like that table. You're doing well, right? Okay. I think you should sue them, but I told you, you got to sue somebody. They're so jealous. of Erica. I said, you're gonna sue the I can say you're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their ass off. But I want to thank all of those who are helping us honor Holy Week here.
What a way to honor Holy Week. Sue them. Sue them. Everybody's just jealous of you. It's like there's something that's just so middle school about this. It's no, we want to know who killed Charlie Kirk.
Exactly.
So could you park aside the lawyers and get information for us, Trump? No, you can't do that, can you? Right? You obviously can't do that. You know, if you're going to sue somebody, maybe people that are in the Epstein files, maybe a good reason to sue is like getting away with raping kids for decades and protecting them because of who they are. Maybe somebody in the 33 Club should be sued. You're going to sue Drewski. You're going to sue us for knowing that they're lying about everything, for keeping track of their lies. By the way, I would like to keep reminding you that most of us welcome a lawsuit because then they would be required to give us the information that we're asking for. That would be great. It would be required to provide the information so there's no more guessing. We don't have to guess. We can demand. We could do exactly what Tyler Robinson's defense is doing, saying, how did you get this technology? We'd like to see the literal receipts. What was the chain of custody? The reason you should never sue, which is just some advice, is if truth is not on your side, because it will come out eventually. It'll be painstaking. Because the easiest thing to do, if truth is on your side, is just answer the questions. Hand your phones over. Do a long sit down. Right? Publicly. Do it for the public. And they're not going to do that, right? It's just, we're powerful. We have money. Scott Bessent can issue letters on the spot and say they're great. Look, we are at the White House celebrating Easter. That's power. There is no true power without truth. And that's what they're learning. This is the lesson that they're learning. It is just a figment of your imagination if you don't have truth on your side. It's an illusion. And it's very easy to cut through that illusion with truth. And so they're mad. They're big mad. Anyway, guys, if you would like to support our show, we have new merch on the website. I want to tell you guys, the CIA tumblers, I forgot who commented that a few shows ago, and I said we would take it back up to the boss man. They will be restocked on April 13th, so that's good news. You can also get a hard copy autographed bundle, now available on our website, Make Him a Sandwich and Blackout, both hand-signed by me, so no two copies are the same. And yeah, there we go. We have, from top comments from last episode, Mark Wilding wrote, this is regarding Terrell Farnsworth, the guy taking a chair from a crime scene to stand on to mess around with the camera, also part of a crime scene, that a man was murdered in moments before, was the first moment that I realized that effery was afoot.
So apparently there's a reason we can't find good towels at stores, and it's not what you think. I stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, and their towels were...
Yeah, and I'll tell you, we never really switched from that foot, did we? Right? We just like, as soon as we saw that, we were like, that's weird. But maybe there's an answer for it. And then Terrell was all crazy on the phone, and I was like, no, something ain't right. That was weird. I spoke to Erica. Why'd you speak to Erica about, like, the behind of his head footage? It's weird. It's like a couple of days after Charlie died. I feel like there's nothing else going on. What are your guys' priorities right now? Kale Miles writes, I think they should make those 600,000 documents public. Let us sort through them. Great advice for Tyler Robinson's defense. They can give them over to Ian Carroll. He's got a website that is capable of doing that. You can release them to the public. I will promise you, we will be the army of paralegals that will go through these documents, because we got some questions. Me, especially, I've got some questions. I will go through every single one of those documents if you give them to me. Yeah. For free. You don't need to pay me. This matters to me. I want to know the answers to the questions that I have that are not being answered by the Epstein class. We just sue. We just sue people who know how disgusting we are. It's just enough money. We have enough money to be deceitful. The reason we lie is because we're rich, and we can. We have lawyers that make it okay, and you don't. Peasants. Well, like I said, we have truth on our side, and that seems to be enough because you guys sound a little bit nervous. Comments regarding today's episode. Yoshi writes, who uses a photo of a grieving widow walking out on stage in her sparkle suit to a show of fireworks in a direct mail plea for more donations? Talking about Turning Point, and the CEO, Erica Du, apparently didn't expect to feel so shocked and disgusted opening the mail today. It's so not normal. I did hear this. They've sent some mailers around, and it's her walking out with the sparklers. at the funeral, I think, and people find it to be very strange. Also, somebody sent me, because like I said, I was in a haze in the day after Charlie was assassinated, but I did not realize how quickly Turning Point, like 48 hours later, sent out text messages. It was like, hi, I'm Erica, and for Charlie's legacy, please give. It was so the ick I had reading this, to switch the gears so quickly into how can we fundraise off of this. It's just dishonorable. That's what it is. It's dishonorable. 007 writes they eliminated the Ron Paul threat at Romney's 2012 convention with a fake floor vote changing the delegate rule. 2012 is when Charlie Kirk fell in love with free markets and liberty. Ron Paul took to campuses and almost stole the party platform. Does that sound familiar? And my producer has a note that the RNC altered the convention rules to bind delegates in future elections to vote for the candidate who wins their state's primary caucus. The RNC also refused to recognize Paul's delegates from Maine. You know, it's funny because I have to go back because I wasn't in politics then. And so I'm having to remind myself of all of these scandals and what they mean and like what Bain Capital does. And aren't they kind of tied into the war profiteering system? I don't know. Again, I need to now go back and revisit all of these things, which is why next week we really want to focus on that. It feels, like I said, very relevant. I missed the friendship of Romney. Utah is like his state.
Look at that.
It's his state. If you, like I said, if you speak to people in the LDS community, they will tell you that, how powerful the Romney family is.
Look at the nose.
And they're actually not well liked. I'll also add that as well. They're considered remarkably corrupt, according to people familiar with them. I'm not saying they are corrupt. I'm saying that they don't have a nice reputation, does not follow them, certainly. Beck Build writes, thank you, Candace, for all of your hard work. Thanks to your team, too. And on another topic, thanks for avoiding the F word. Could we ask Ian Carroll to lighten up on the F word? I could share his content more to my Christian friends. Thank you. Ian Carroll, please lighten up on the F word so that Beck Build can share his content more to his Christian friends. It's a good thing. You know, it's we're at the end of Lent here. Something you could give up. We should make, he'll do a late Lent, which we can't really do, but I could make him give that up for a month. I'm going to text him. And see how he feels about it, and we'll make him like do something if he slips up. We'll make him pay me. We'll sue him. We will sue Ian Carroll every time he says the F word. I think that's a good idea. Amaramusa writes, Dr. Stephen Jones, a physicist at BYU, published a study in 2009 proving advanced thermite-based explosives in abundance in the dust from Ground Zero on 9/11. BYU is divided. Now, I am certainly not saying that everyone who goes to BYU is in the CIA. I am saying they pluck from students, and their Hawaii campus, in particular, again, I'll have more information for you on this, they pull people out of the pool of Hawaii, and in Jerusalem in particular, they approach students because they are the cream of the crop of the Mormon pie that go there, and they approach them about working for the CIA. And that can be in Hollywood, in movies, that can be in politics, but that actually happens, and that was happening when Andrew Zenger was over there. So it is a fair question to ask if Andrew Zenger works in some capacity or has worked with the CIA doing contract work for them. It's a fair question to ask, and I'm asking it. Libby Vargas writes, I joined the book club and I started at Chaos. The first episode gave me chills. It feels like your investigation started then. What you spoke is what you're living now. David with his sling, unaware of Goliath, God bless. Wow, I didn't even appreciate that. Yeah, when I was reading Chaos, it was like that. It's like, oh, this is what we were told. We committed murders. This is what the narrative was. And they were like, wait, but everything did not happen that way. It's like the opposite. And then like behind this is this CIA apparatus, and this is clearly like all CIA and with the purpose of socially engineering society towards some goal. And yeah, similarly here, what was the goal? To socially engineer us remarkably and ironically toward support for Israel. He died, his very last breath. Shabbat Shalom, I love Israel. He had just written me this letter about how much he loved Israel. He was just about to come. He spent his whole life fighting for Israel. Don't forget that. As you march forward, don't forget how much Charlie loved Israel. That was the vibe, which made us go,
wait, what?
Something ain't right. Because they're lying. They're lying about what he was going through. He was under immense pressure, and he was done. As he wrote, as he said, he was done with the pro-Israel cause. He abandoned. You've left me no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause. It would have been nice if rather than attacking Joe Kent,
look at the nose.
They themselves came out with that information.
Look.
and wouldn't have to consider Joe Kent, why didn't Andrew want to come out with that information to the public?
Who knows, Red?
Why didn't Erica want to assert that to the public? Like, he was actually abandoning the approach to your cause because my husband was under a tremendous amount of stress in the end because they were pulling money from him and they were threatening him, financially, and he felt morally blackmailed by them, and they were telling him who he could speak to and who his friends could be. Could you imagine how different sentiments would be toward her if she at all ever reflected what he was going through in the last few months?
Exactly.
Instead, we got, well, you can't question why she didn't do that. She's a grieving widow.
She's a grieving widow.
And she's forced to assume his role and reverse everything that he
sneeze.
did, like LBJ did after JFK's death. She's forced to do that.
Sneezes for?
It's brave that she's doing that. It's godly. It's inspired that she's doing that. I don't know what else to say. I think that is all for the comments that we have. Oh, I missed one. 7 Sheets wrote, here for the authenticity. Candace, along with Barron, etc., could replace the entire alphabet agencies, and I think we'd be so much better off. Sad realization, but at least the people are following truth over slop. Yeah, I totally agree. I enjoy Baron Coleman's show so much. I also enjoy Lionel Nation's show so much. I love watching these shows, and I mean, it's the research, and I think that's what separates it. Is I was saying to my team, it's like so many people have podcasts, and what they're really doing is it's really cheap form of podcasting where they're just playing a clip and reacting to it, right? We're playing a clip and reacting to it, like, oh, I'm reacting to the Daily Mail article. Well, are you actually going to do the work and read through the documents and read the 28 pages plus the addendums and the attachments and comprehend what's happening, or are you just going to be a commentator, like part of the commentariat, and just go, oh, this person's evil, this person's demonic, I can't stand it, this is wrong. We don't need it. I wish we could just flush it all out, and so what I appreciate about Barron and also Lionel is their experience as lawyers. They bring that to the table. There is the investigative form. It's unique. Like, he found this thing that I hadn't found that then locked in, and I'm referring to Barron here, but locked in perfectly to something that I had discovered. I was like, oh, they were living in the same house. I didn't realize that Qureshi was this relevant to the military. We got some 06s and some 05s. I now know what that means. Military people, do I sound cool? Am I stepping my game up a little bit? Can you admit that I'm stepping my game up from the beginning when I accidentally said E3 or E2? Like, I'm learning. We're all learning together, and I'm trying to step my game up, but it separates it to be thorough and to be investigating, and also to enjoy what you do. You sense a joy in all of their shows, and Barron's show. He's very funny, and it's unfortunate if you're not high IQ, you can't watch it, but it's a good show.
Listen.
I'm allowed to be there. Everyone here today. We were a high IQ outfit here today. Anyway, you guys, we will see you tomorrow, and then we're going to take a week break and dive into Romney land. We will see you tomorrow.
Okay. Look, that's spring break for us next week, so I totally understand. Let me see what's going on. I need to finish Karen. And then Josh, he had dropped that yesterday. Hold on, I'm just checking real well. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Is this? What is this? Oh, okay, that's all. I don't know how Tommy G was over there in the women's prison. I'm like, isn't that a violation? Right? Hold on, let me see what they talking about real quick.
That's crazy because, like, when Renee Good lost her life and then that dude Alex Brady, I was like, man, that is crazy. Looks like both those people got arrested, but nothing happened to them.
Yeah.
So is that why they're wearing masks?
Kind of like when Charlie Kirk lost his life and he was surrounded by an Israeli security detail.
What? Israeli? He's
security
You
detail.
didn't know that?
No.
Look at Hodge Twin. They're so damn funny. Hold on, let me see. Who is this?
These viral Paleo Belly beef sticks are on sale right now for
30 beef sticks for
They
$36.
don't make it all the time, but I love that the Hodge Twins, because you know we used to watch them when they used to sit in the car and eat before they got the podcast. Man, we used to love sitting there watching them two eat and just be talking because they just be so funny. You just never know what conversation you're gonna get. But man,
It's because, like, when Renee Good lost her life and then that dude Alex Brady, I was like, man, that is crazy. Looks like both those people got arrested, but nothing happened to them.
Yeah.
So is that why they're wearing masks?
Kind of like when Charlie Kirk lost his life and he was surrounded by an Israeli security detail.
What?
Israeli security.
Israeli? He's
Look, both
You didn't know
of
that?
them.
no.
Look at both of
But
them.
there's Americans. He had a bunch of Israeli
Charlie Kirk said that himself. He said, if you want the best security detail, hire the Israelis. He's on film saying that.
It's
Look at
kind
both
of.
of them.
Well, I'm not gonna say that, but man, he was being
So, and that is also,
real
something
critical
that's
of
really
Israel
central
up
to
until
all
his
of this.
death.
Yeah, well, he was. I had written him off. I didn't, I knew what you were getting with Charlie Kirk. He was a huge, pro-Zionist, pro-Israel. They're just he was.
Here, real quick, Stu, is this what you're talking about? Colombian cartel assassin trained by Israelis.
Yeah, I believe that's it. Yeah. If it discusses the butcher.
I can't watch it because we can't read it because, Washington Post, you gotta pay.
Yeah, you got to have a subscription.
Look at the ad.
That's it, though.
Did you see that ad?
No, what was it? Damn, I missed it.
It was RuPaul's Drag Race. Yeah, it was RuPaul's Drag Race. I shit you not. RuPaul.
Shout out to RuPaul.
Oh man.
But yeah. What were you talking about?
We were talking about Charlie Kirk.
So
that's crazy. He was becoming very critical of Israel, and he had an Israeli security detail. That's like
I had, but that was all done beforehand. See, Erica Kirk is the Manchurian candidate of all Manchurian candidates. I mean, she was intentionally placed into Charlie's life. Absolutely, she was introduced to Charlie Kirk by Tyler Boyer.
Right. You know what's crazy? Nobody hasn't even mentioned it. Like, Charlie was becoming very critical of Israel. He didn't want this war. He's been documented to say he was against this Iran war.
Yeah.
And since this Iran war took place, she hasn't said anything about it.
No.
And that was your husband. Why are you so quiet about this?
Well.
Manchurian candidate.
Are you asking my opinion?
Well, it's rhetorical.
Finish your thought.
It's rhetorical.
Since when she was 17 years old, when she founded a nonprofit called Romanian Angels, and she was dealing with, children in one of the world's most notorious hotbeds for child sex trafficking. And there were military personnel that were investigated for selling these kids off into rape slave situations. And, then it turns out that Tyler Boyer, who's the guy who's now the COO, who Charlie Kirk had fired and taken away from this position where he had anything to do with dealing with donors. And, he wrote it that he was going to have a Doge-style effort at Turning Point because he didn't trust Tyler Boyer. He didn't trust the people around him. He wanted to see where all this money was going. Well, Tyler Boyer has his own affliction to Eastern European orphanages in Ukraine, where he's been dealing with orphans in Ukraine for many, many years. So he knows Erica Kirk and makes the introduction to Charlie Kirk, Erica Francefay. They knew each other. And then, of course, she comes from a background, Lori Francefay, with her connections to E3 Tech. That was her company, which, was anti-EMP technology, which was tested on Fort Huachuca in Arizona. It's the only place where they test EMP and anti-EMP technology.
Is that the base she said she'd never been to?
That she never knew anything about. But her mother, Lori, and her father, Kent, both moved to Arizona to be in close proximity to Fort Huachuca because they worked on Fort Huachuca. That's where their entire business came from. It's where all of their technology was tested for the defense contracts that they were soaking. I mean, I would potentially say hundreds of millions of dollars. Kent Francefay is the guy who set up Raytheon Israel Ltd. He brokered the financing for the Iron Dome. This is Erica Kirk's father. Now, she also tells this story about how she was like, you know, she grew up with a single mom. That's just not true. Like, Kent Francefay was very much involved in her life. She said that openly when she was on the air with Charlie Kirk about how Kent was very much part of everyday life when she was growing up. So she's a liar. She's lied about everything. She's always sought attention. She was, you know, the pageant girl. She did the reality TV stuff where she was, you know, on a dating show drunk, and then later went on with Barry Weiss and said that she doesn't drink and never dated before Charlie Kirk. She's literally on fucking TV, national television, dating and drunk. But never mind that. You're not supposed to, it's anti-Semitic.
Good morning, America.
Why they just played it all loud? Why? You did blew
Okay,
everybody.
this unseen footage will shock you.
Hey, that's deep in there. Give them cleavage? They people want cleavage. Showcase it.
Pay close attention.
Sex sells it.
It goes against everything in the narrative being displayed now.
You need a god and it's not you. That's me.
Believe me, this gets even worse the deeper we go.
Hi, I'm JT Massey. Hi, I'm Erica Francefay.
So we've got the joking about her religious values.
That's me.
We've got a confirmation of living in California.
I currently live in Venice, California.
And now also stating she lived in China.
Because I've lived in China, I've lived in Chongqing.
There is a lot to unravel. I'm still analyzing it.
Modern-day gypsy.
In the last video, I broke down the acting career. This video is different from everything that we see today.
I'm a Jane of all trades. I'm kind of like a gypsy. She is highly confrontational. I am.
Was Erica married before? Watch this closely.
Sex sells, babe. Sex sells. That's me.
Yeah, so she had an engagement to that baseball player, this Massey guy.
Yeah, he's played baseball.
Yeah, and then, you know, she had other relationships with, you know, people that were prominent, people that were wealthy, that were rich, and she completely scrubbed the whole engagement and pretended that that never existed. I never dated before Charlie, she said, when I was in New York. I never dated. And then did you see the picture of her with her legs spread wearing the leather pants on the steps in New York?
Oh, I'd like to see that.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. Here's how it works.
Can you find that picture? I actually want to see that.
She's got her legs spread. And then, of course, the grieving widow kit, you know, it comes standard with leather pants and ass squeezes and all these other things with the vice president. But no, I mean, she has been directly connected to these people for her entire life with, you know, the military industrial complex deals, and then the Superfeed Technologies, Superfeed Tech company that Lori Francefay and Tyler Boyer both sit on the board of. And they take all of this money from, of course, prominent, wealthy Jewish people, and then they run these influence campaigns here in our American political system, and they do these she's on video giving like training to CIA operatives. She's like teaching the CIA about EMP technology. This is Erica Francefay is on video doing all of that.
Yeah, so how did she meet Charlie? How did that whole relationship?
So Tyler Boyer introduced Erica Francefay to Charlie Kirk originally because Erica had seen Charlie on some trip to Israel. So Tyler Boyer makes this introduction. Basically, the premise was that this was going to be a job interview. And so here's Charlie Kirk interviewing this Erica Francefay. And,
good-looking woman.
Good-looking woman. And, you know, basically at that point it was just decided, like, no, this is no longer a job interview. This has turned into a date. And
do you think Eric Boyer and her had ulterior motives?
Well, I mean, just based on the fact that he's now dead,
yeah,
and that Tyler Boyer was fired,
right,
and now is right back into that position, that he's now dead, and immediately preceding his death, he rejected $150 million from Benjamin Netanyahu, and then now the money has come in.
So she's a very connected, powerful woman before she even met Charlie.
Oh yeah. What about these kids? I mean, you know, whose kids are these? Are they really actually Charlie's kid? Did she tell him that she couldn't have kids?
I didn't even know he had a wife until he died. Until he was assassinated.
Yeah, I didn't either and didn't care. Like I said, I had written him off. He was a huge shill for Israel.
Right,
but then as soon as he was murdered in broad daylight in front of 3,000 people and in such a horrific, bloody way, you know, what's the first thing that you do is you go back and you think, well you listen to what was this person saying in the days, weeks, and months leading up to his death. I was like, oh.
Right.
And I saw him talking to Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro looking at him like he wanted to kill him. And I heard him, you know, talking about this multifaceted occupation of our country, where he was, you know, like saying, like it's academia, it's the media, it's Hollywood, it's banking and finance, it's everywhere, it's our government, it's all of its bureaucracies. That and then he said that these Jews were playing into all of the stereotypes, and he's saying things that like.
Yeah, he actually said that.
So when he was starting to go off the rails or off the plantation, in other words, when he started to think for himself, they tried everything, including dragging him to the Hamptons to Bill Ackman's mansion. And when he gets there, there's a bunch of powerful psychopath Zionists around him that are basically wagging their fingers at him and telling him, you're not allowed to talk like this. You shouldn't be talking like this anymore. And, you know, and he's like, no. But when he looked around, who's next to him? His so-called wife, Erica. This guy who's supposed to be his best friend, Mikey McCoy, who's a proven liar. All these people at Turning Point have been caught in multiple easily confirmable lies. And Mikey McCoy, his best friend. And so when they couldn't pressure him, they had the Prime Minister of Israel phone in. Like, this is the head of state, right? Of a foreign country. Is there a precedent for that? Is that normal? Are you guys taking money from like the president of some other country? Have you ever even heard of that? I've never even heard of something like that.
Yeah.
So here's this Prime Minister of Israel calling into Bill Ackman's mansion, put Charlie on the phone. And I've got $150 million for you. And Charlie's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. And then we had heard, and it had been reported to us that there was actually like $1 billion on the table. And I was like, hey, listen, this is, I've not been able to independently confirm or verify this, but I've been told that there was actually $1 billion on the table that Charlie walked away from, and then was writing texts about how he was going to be forced to leave the pro-Israel cause, and that these people are feeding him all of the stereotypes. He's not going to be bullied around. Then he was on the air saying, all of these, like neo-Marxist quasi, like these policies that we're seeing, like this has all been ushered in by secular Jews, and now this is all coming for the Jews, and they're like, wait a minute, what happened? He's on video saying that, and it's now been confirmed, thanks to Candace Owens and her hard work, and people who are kind of helping in this crowdsourced investigation, that it's been confirmed that there was $1 billion offer on the table, and in fact, immediately after Charlie Kirk was killed, Turning Point took that $1 billion, and that this Pierre was one of the first guys in the world to know and to say out loud that Charlie Kirk was dead. Well, how did he know that? How did a Jewish billionaire know in Israel that Charlie Kirk was dead before I did or before you did as an American? Why was Benjamin Netanyahu on TV before Donald Trump was? So, I mean, it's my opinion that, I'm sure that you've seen or heard of the Mitch Snow appearance on Candace Owens, where Mitch Snow said that he was on Fort Huachuca and he saw Erica Kirk with Cabot Phillips on the 8th, 2 days before, and then saw Brian Harpole, who is, on Charlie's security detail. I don't know in what capacity, if he ran it or if he was just working there that day. By the way, 90% of the people that were working for Turning Point that day on September 10th, it was their first day on the job working for Turning Point. Charlie was surrounded by unfamiliar faces when he died. He didn't know who these people were, a lot of them, including a photographer who was like, Charlie had no idea who he was talking to, who was there. But Brian Harpole has a security firm whose company is located 11 minutes from the gates on Fort Huachuca. Erica Kirk has grown up there for her entire life. Her mom worked on Fort Huachuca.
A base she said she'd never been on.
A base that she's saying she never heard of. What's a Huachuca? What is that? What is a Huachuca? That's Cabot Phillips, yeah.
He works for the Daily Wire as like their like head editor. Or
Yeah. So Cabot Phillips, and then Cabot Phillips immediately after Charlie Kirk is murdered, goes on a Fight Like Charlie tour. Cabot Phillips, her ex-boyfriend, who she's, according to Mitch Snow, is on Fort Huachuca. Now, I will just tell you, I'm not going to tell you how I know this, but I know that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Erica Kirk was on Fort Huachuca 2 days before Charlie Kirk was killed, and that she was in the hotel lobby with Cabot Phillips, her ex-boyfriend, or maybe a guy that she never broke up with, because I believe that she's a promiscuous whore and a compulsive liar and a foreign agent and a Manchurian candidate. I believe all those things about her, and I believe that she had a lot to do with planning and carrying out Charlie's murder.
You think Charlie was shot by his lapel?
I think it was an exploding lavalier microphone.
Lavalier mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that video because I never did understand how 30-06 you don't have an entry room.
Yeah, well, that's just not.
I mean,
that story is completely unbelievable. Yeah.
Exit wound.
I don't know. I think that if there's any influencer that is saying that, or any like person that people follow that's still saying, wait, I think they got the right guy. It was Tyler Robinson with his grandfather's 30-06. I mean, they're either benefiting in some way from their complicity in all of this. They're either getting paid, or they've been promised a position of power, or some, in this fake government. They're going to have like, we'll make you a congressman someday, or maybe even the president. I don't know. Maybe they offer them nominations. Maybe they just pay them off. I don't know. They're either benefiting or they're just retarded, because there's just no way that a 30-06 does that. Especially when you consider like who was holding it and all this other stuff. And we have to take into consideration that we have like a young 20-something-year-old who's sitting in jail, facing the death penalty sentencing for, And so those are supposedly the kids. Okay.
You never see their faces.
You never see their faces. No, but,
oh, you don't, huh? Yeah, you don't. There's no pictures of their faces?
Never, not one.
You kidding?
Never.
Well, there's a video I saw, but it's always the back of them.
So check
That's
this out.
Weird.
So after Mitch Snow makes the assertion on Candace's show that he saw Erica Kirk
These look like AI almost.
Yeah.
on Fort Huachuca, she produced an alibi. And her alibi was, I was with the kids. And but they were somebody else's kids. I don't know whose kids they were, because they weren't those kids, because they were not those kids. They were a completely different age than what we were told Charlie and Erica's kids were. So
see, there's that video on Fox News.
And then also the alibi was from the wrong day. It was from the 9th, and nobody said that she was on the base on the 9th. They said that it was the 8th.
See, it's always from behind.
Always.
I didn't notice that.
So why are they running away from that? And why is this woman who said, I forgive you, I forgive him. Remember that? I forgive him. At this memorial, I guess.
It's the closest we get to a face.
And now they're saying that, Erica's saying that it's her right as the victim of this crime to force a speedy trial and to have Tyler Robinson convicted and executed as quickly as possible. Well, the reason why they want to do that is very obvious, because they want to make sure that they're able to cement in stone the official narrative and say, no, you're fucking crazy and you're an idiot. They've already convicted Tyler Robinson. They've executed him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But I believe it was the lavalier microphone, which is why there were shards of glass everywhere. There were shards of glass. That was the older Rode model, the tempered glass lavalier mic that he was wearing, which was placed on him differently than it ever was previous. Oh, wait till you hear this.
How I'm upping my lawn game this year. I've been trying to care for my lawn myself, but it's difficult to figure out exactly what.
There's an explosives manufacturing facility. And in May of 2025, the Department of Defense took delivery of an order of a very small amount of explosives that would be like the amount that you'd put in a shape charge or, for example, an exploding lavalier microphone. It was a Department of Defense order. a plane from Utah went to Eastern Tennessee to pick that up, to pick up that small amount of explosives. Then Charlie Kirk is killed on September 10th. And when people started looking into the shape charge idea, the exploding lavalier microphone, all these things, which I think I was one of the first to say, this is what killed him. And I kind of put the video on. The plant blew up and killed every one of the employees that worked there.
What?
Yeah.
Really? What was it called?
The manufacturing facility in Eastern Tennessee. I don't remember what it was called. You can probably easily find that. But the plant, the manufacturing facility that produces the explosives.
Is that the one that burnt down?
It burnt. It
It
killed.
like a nuke bomb just blew it all up.
Yeah.
The same place.
It's that place, and it killed every employee. There's nobody else left alive that would have worked on the explosives that were delivered to the Department of Defense that I believe killed Charlie Kirk. So, I mean, this is, I believe, very clearly a high-level military operation that goes all the way to the president. And, this just suggests even more vindication in this film Occupied, that just shows that every single level of our bureaucracy is completely and totally occupied, to the extent that we will send, hundreds of thousands, whatever, however many Americans into this certain death. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one? Yeah, it just totally exploded.
At a bomb factory, they call it.
Yeah, that's what they said. It was a bomb factory.
Yeah. So that's what they do. They manufacture explosives, just like the explosives that were delivered to somebody who was on a private jet from Utah, not far from Utah Valley University. And I think that there's been, some discussion about whether or not that could have been Hibbs that did that. And there's like a picture of him with the lavalier microphone in his shirt pocket that would be later placed on Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, what's the purpose of having a lavalier mic if you got a microphone you're holding?
Well, I understand that, because they use the lavalier microphone to capture audio for like these cameras, so that they can stream them for Turning Point, materials, or rebroadcast them, turn them into reels, whatever, so that they'll have good audio. And then this microphone is obviously to talk to the 3,000 people that were in attendance that day. But
so how did they manage to get that guy on the roof then? To take the fall for it?
I don't even know if there was a guy on a roof, to be honest with you. I mean, we're talking about a government that has lied to us about every single Epstein tape that we've ever seen of his surveillance footage. Because they removed the hard drive from that. Let that sink in. I mean, I'm telling you that every single frame of surveillance film that you have seen and told that this was Jeffrey Epstein's cell was fake. Like fake. Not from another time, not altered.
Just completely fake.
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold was created.
Science. Oh, I didn't know we were done. Check out them stats. I think we was at 19 when I started.
And so what we're seeing...
Because we was almost done. I just had to take a break, child. My brain was like, ooh, Karen, please, honey. What time is it? Okay. 11. Let me see if she finished charge. Speaking of money, not Manchurian Candidate, though. That's a first. Now that's a first. She's a total Manchurian Candidate, bro. Oh, dang, that's crazy. I didn't even think of it like that. She's a fucking total Manchurian Candidate, bro. I was walking down the street one day. 2 point. Check out them stats, man. Check out them stats. 2.7 million.
Right now is, the thing that happens with every wave of automation, which is that there is a bunch of entry-level work that gets automated away. And there are also new jobs created, but the jobs that are created are in one of two categories. There are people that get even higher skilled jobs. And what he was saying, like, we pay people more for like the handcrafted code now. And there's also the people who get way worse jobs. And so there was this amazing article in New York Magazine that was talking about how a lot of people are getting laid off, and then they end up working in data annotation, which is the labor that I've been referring to throughout this conversation that companies need in order to teach their models the next thing that the companies are trying to automate. And so like a marketer gets laid off, and then they go and work for a data annotation firm to train the models on the very job that they were just laid off in, which will then perpetuate more layoffs if that model then develops that skill.
Right.
And the article was talking about how this has become a huge catch-all for a lot of people that are struggling with finding job opportunities right now, including like award-winning directors in Hollywood that are actually secretly doing this data annotation work to put food on the table. And so when they talk about there's going to be mass unemployment and then there's going to be some new jobs created that we can't even imagine, I think a lot of these narratives rarely talk about, like, first of all, why are some jobs going away? It's not just because of the model capabilities, it's also because of executive choices and because of the rhetoric that they use if they want to just downsize. But the other thing that is rarely talked about is a lot of the jobs that are created are way worse than the jobs that were there.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
And it breaks the career ladder. So it's the entry level and the mid-tier jobs that get gouged out. It's higher order jobs and then way more lower order jobs that get created. And so how do people continue to progress in their careers? There's no more rungs on the ladder.
I actually don't know the answer to this question, and I've been furiously trying to find a good answer to this question, because everything is theory. And for my audience, I would say most of my audience don't run businesses. A lot of them do, a lot of them aspire to, but they don't run businesses. So they're also in the land of theory. They're hearing lots of different things. Jack Dorsey does his tweet saying he's halving his headcount because of AI. They don't know what's true. They don't know the sort of internal economics at Jack's company. And did he bloat the company during the pandemic? And he's just using this as an excuse to make this share price spike 7 points because his investors now think they're an AI company or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to pass through. So eventually I go, okay, what am I doing? I have hundreds of team members, probably 70 companies I invest in, maybe 5 or 6 that I'm like the lead shareholder in.
Yeah.
What am I actually doing on a day-to-day basis right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also consider myself to be head of recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last month in particular, I have met extremely capable candidates in terms of cultural alignment, hard work, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had to take a great deal of pause, because when I run the experiment of can I get an AI agent to do that exact same thing, the answer is increasingly yes, especially in a world of open clause.
And so I'm curious, like,
yeah.
Now you confront this decision where you're seeing in this short-term period, you could just choose the AI agent. And in the long-term period, there is no career ladder. So who are you promoting into these senior roles? Like, how do you resolve it for your own company?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's kind of 2 ways I'm thinking about it. I think really deep expertise is very, very valuable, because if you're now the orchestrator of potentially AI agents, it's really about having a deep understanding of the right question to ask. And that's someone who has deep expertise on something. So I need my CFO, because if she's going to be orchestrating our team of agents that might be doing financial analysis or whatever else, she needs to understand what to tell them to do in our company. And in turn, financial analysts can't do that. They need the 50 odd years of experience that, Claire has. On the other end, I need Kaz. Kaz is 25. Kaz knows everything about AI agents. He's a young Japanese kid who's highly, highly curious. On the weekend, he's building AI agents to solve problems in my life. I need those 2 kinds of thinking, which is highly proficient agent maxing young kids, or they don't necessarily need to be young, but like really lean in high curiosity. That's creating a force multiplier in my business. And then I need deep expertise.
Now, everything else outside of, there is another one I've thought of, another group, is like people with extremely great IRL people skills. Because we do meet people in real life. We greet you when you arrive here. When we go for lunch with big clients that we have, whether it's Apple or LinkedIn or whoever it might be, we need to schmooze. And we have teams who, are in person in the office. So we do a lot of stuff IRL, and increasingly we're building communities. Even for this show, we're doing community events all around the world. So we need people that are good at that as well. IRL, bringing people together in real life and organizing stuff. Those are the three groups of people that I'm like, irreplaceable right now.
And if you were to all of the roles that could be done by AI agents, if we were to replace them with AI agents, do you think you would still have these three roles, pools of people to hire and promote into the three critical things that you need in the long term?
If things carry on at the current rate of trajectory,
one
could assert that even those roles would experience pressure. If you just imagine, like, people think of things either statically or linearly or exponentially. If you imagine an exponential rate of improvement, which is kind of what I've seen, even like a 10% compounding rate of improvement, at some point, I think what remains is actually the IRL irreplaceably human stuff, human to human. Our Maslowian needs of being in person like we are now aren't going to change. We need connection. Humans get very sick when they don't have other human beings in their life and strong, deep relationships.
100% agree.
So that stuff is going to matter a whole lot. I have this contrarian weird take that actually maybe this is the first technology that's going to deliver on the promise of making us human and connected, because we're going to be rendered useless at everything else other than what humans are good at. Because all the other technology said, we're going to make you more connected, connecting the world. And they disconnected the world and isolated the world. But maybe this is the one. It's so intelligent now that it doesn't need us to fuck around in spreadsheets anymore.
Do you see that actually happening in real time right now, that it's making us more able to be in person, connected with one another, having deeper social community engagements?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And I'll give you some data points.
Okay.
Data point number one. The Financial Times released a report on social media usage, and what they saw is 2022 was the peak, and it's plateaued ever since. The generation that's plateaued the fastest and heading down is the younger generations. The boomers are still off to the races, right? Also on Facebook and stuff. And then you look at the way Gen Alpha are using social media, they're not posting as much. They call it posting zero. They're scrolling sometimes, but they're in dark social environments like WhatsApp and Snapchat and iMessage. They're not like performing to the world. They also value IRL experiences much more than any other generation. They're like not getting smashed. We're seeing every brand has a run club. We're seeing, run clubs exploding around the world. And we're seeing this real sort of almost like innate realization that like technology let us down at some fundamental level. Like dating apps let us down, social networking kind of has let us down. And we're seeing, I think, maybe a bifurcation of society where a lot of people are going, fuck this, like, I want to go back to what it is to be a human. And I would imagine that in such a world where intelligence is so sophisticated that we no longer needed to sit at laptops and like, I think screen time's going to continue to fall. I think you go into an office, you're not going to see people sat at laptops, you're going to see something completely different. And I think maybe, and then we talk about robots and Optimus robots. Elon says there'll be 10 billion Optimus robots. Elon has been wrong with timing before. He's almost never been wrong on the big things completely. His timing has got a bad track record. So I think he's probably right. I think I've got some people on the way from Boston Dynamics and these other big companies like Scale AI, and they're actually bringing the robots here to show it, like folding laundry, doing the dishes. I'm not saying that's what I would want in my home, but I think factory work is going to completely change. I think a lot of manual labor is going to completely change, and I think we're going to be forced to do what only we can do. Sebastian, who's the CEO of Klarna, has actually just called me.
For the first time in modern history, college student.
Hello, Sebastian. You all right?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's been a while.
It has been a while since you're on the show. I was just saying we do need to get you back on. I just had a couple of simple questions because I do a lot of interviews, and Klarna's always mentioned because I think the media has said that you like doubled down on AI, then you reversed because it didn't work out. So I know I spoke to you a while ago and we exchanged a couple of DMs about it, but that was it was almost a year ago now. So I just wanted to get an update on Klarna's business, AI, agents, and all of that, if possible.
First and foremost, we were early on released AI to support our customer service. We've had that initial benefit of more calls being dealt with by AI, which customers liked because those calls or chat messages were much, much faster and more qualitative. Then since then, that has actually expanded slightly. What we did, however, try to communicate as well is that we believed in a world of where AI is cheap and available, the value of human interaction will be regarded as higher. So the future of customer service VIP is a human. We have then hence doubled down on providing more of that. But at the same time, the efficiency gains within the company has continued. I mean, we used to be about 6,000 people, and now we are less than 3,000, which is 2-3 years since we stopped recruiting. And at the same time, our revenue has doubled, right? So you can clearly see that AI has allowed us to do more with less people, but we have avoided layoffs and instead relied on natural attrition when people kind of move on to other jobs. I mean, from my perspective, we will continue to be very, not really recruit much. I mean, we recruit a little bit here and there, but we expect that kind of natural attrition of 10-15% per year to continue on to become fewer. I think the big breakthrough was really in November, December last year, where even the kind of most skeptical engineers who are like very well renowned and appreciated, like the founder of Linux and stuff like that, basically said that coding has now been resolved and hence is not, you don't need to code anymore. And that was kind of a common sentiment. So I think in coding, that's definitely an engineering work that has been a tremendous shift in the last 6 months.
What do all these people go do, Sebastian?
I am optimistic. I mean, I think obviously people will have a lot of opinions about this topic, but I still believe that we are going to move towards a richer society. Now, in the short term, there could be more worry about what happens if people don't get a job and so forth. But I think in the longer term, I am optimistic what it means for society and humanity.
Thank you so much, Seb. I'll chat to you soon. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you, mate. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah,
bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, as you in the middle.
You know the little traditional SIM card that goes inside of our phones? They haven't changed at all since they were invented in the 90s. You have this physical piece of plastic that means you're locked into one carrier, one network, and the second you cross a border, that carrier can start charging you whatever they want. But there are alternatives, and today's sponsor, Saily, is one of them. It's an eSIM app that gives you a safe and secure data connection in over 200 destinations. All of their eSIMs have built-in cybersecurity, which is great if you're traveling for work and looking at confidential material. I've been using Saily whenever I travel because the connection is always reliable and it saves me a ton of roaming fees. It also means I don't have to deal with all of the faff that surrounds sorting out a SIM everywhere I go. If you want to give it a try, download the Saily app from the App Store now and scan the QR code on screen. And if you want 15% off your first purchase, use my code DOAC when you get to checkout. That's DOAC for 15% off. Keep that to yourself. This is something that I've made for you. I realize that the Diary of a CEO audience are strivers, whether it's in business or health. We all have big goals that we want to accomplish. And one of the things I've learned is that when you aim at the big goal, it can feel incredibly psychologically uncomfortable because it's kind of like being stood at the foot of Mount Everest and looking upwards. The way to accomplish your goals is by breaking them down into tiny, small steps. And we call this in our team the 1%. And actually, this philosophy is highly responsible for much of our success here. So what we've done so that you at home can accomplish any big goal that you have is we've made these 1% diaries, and we released these last year and they all sold out. So I asked my team over and over again to bring the diaries back, but also to introduce some new colors and to make some minor tweaks to the diary. So now we have a better range for you. So if you have a big goal in mind and you need a framework and a process and some motivation, then I highly recommend you get one of these diaries before they all sell out once again. And you can get yours at thediary.com. And if you want the link is in the description below. Any thoughts?
Well, I actually had thoughts on something that you said before he called, which is you were saying that the Gen Zers, like there's this trend that they're actually disconnecting from technology, so they're becoming more in person. And then there's this other class of workers that are actually leaning into the technology, but then becoming more human because they're leaning into the technology.
stop playing around with AI. Look, everybody and their dog is dabbling with ChatGPT right now, and so few businesses are using it to actually grow. And I want
because they're realizing that they should actually just be spending more time doing in-person to person interactions rather than staring at a spreadsheet. And so they're no longer doing the typing and whatever. I really want to go back to this New York Magazine piece that just came out, because what you're describing is true for a very specific category of people, which is often like the business owners and leadership within companies that actually can make these decisions on how they spend their time and what they ultimately do with their time. But what the piece talks about is the working class, like people who are not business owners that are then having to experience being laid off and then working for the data annotation industry, which is now one of the top jobs on LinkedIn, by the way. So LinkedIn had a report that showed the top 10 jobs with the highest growth in the last year, and data annotation is on that list.
And for anyone that doesn't know what data annotation is.
Yeah, so data annotation is the process of teaching these chatbots or any AI system to do what they ultimately are able to do. So the fact that ChatGPT can chat is because there were tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that were literally typing into a large language model and showing it, this is how you're supposed to then respond when a user types in a prompt like this. Before they did that work, ChatGPT didn't exist. Like you would prompt the model and the model would generate some text that was not in dialogue with the person. It would kind of generate something that was adjacently related.
Is this what they call reinforcement learning, where you give it like
It's a part of the process of reinforcement learning. So you do data annotation, which is literally showing lots of different, examples of things that you want the model to know. And then reinforcement learning is getting the model to then train on those examples iteratively in a way that then gives the model some of those capabilities. And what the New York Magazine piece highlighted is many, many of the people that are getting laid off now or are struggling to find work. And these are highly educated people. They're college graduates, PhD graduates, law degree graduates, doctors, and again, like award-winning directors that are then struggling to find employment in the economy because the economy has been very much restructured by AI. They are then finding themselves serving this industry. And the industry is designed in a way that is extremely inhumane, because what the companies that use these data annotation services, like there's these third-party providers that are data annotation firms. An OpenAI, Grok, a Google, they will hire these firms to then find the workers to perform the data annotation tasks that they need. For these firms, these third-party firms, they are incentivized to pit workers against each other because they want this data annotation to happen at speed and as cheaply as possible so that they can also compete with one another in this middle layer to get the contract from the client. And so all of these workers that were interviewed for this New York Magazine story talk about how they actually no longer have an ability to be human because they are waiting at their laptop to be pinged on Slack for when a project is going to open up for data annotation because they've tried job hunting. They literally can't find anything else. This is the thing that's going to help them put food on the table for their kids. And there was this one woman who said, like, I have so much anxiety about when the project is going to come, when it's going to leave, that when the project came, it was right when my kid was coming off of school. And I just started tasking furiously because I don't know when it's going to go. And I need to earn as much money as possible in this window of opportunity. So then when my kid came home and tried to talk to me, I screamed at my child for distracting me. And then she was like, I've become a monster. And I'm not even allowed to go to the bathroom or take care of my kids, let alone myself, because this industry that is absorbing more and more of the workers that are being laid off is mechanizing my life, atomizing my work, devaluing my expertise, and then harvesting it for the perpetuation of this machine that all of these AI executives are saying is then going to come for everyone else's jobs. And so what you were saying about this class of workers, the business owners that get to become more human because there are all of these AI models now doing the tasks that they don't have to do anymore. It is at the cost of the vast majority of people who are not business owners that are struggling to find work, getting absorbed into the work of then providing these technologies that the business owners can use. And instead of becoming more human, they feel like their humanity has been squeezed and diminished, and they have no ability to have control, agency, and dignity in their lives anymore.
I think this is a big question that kind of pertains to this graph here, which is, all of these people, if we believe Anthropic's prediction of who will be disrupted, these people in these industries like media, legal, life and social sciences, architecture and engineering, computer and maths, business and finance, and management, and also office and admin. These people, if we believe this, would have to retrain at something else. And unlike the Industrial Revolution, where you might get 10, 20 years to retrain because factories take a long time to build, the distribution layer that AI sits on top of is the open internet. So this is where ChatGPT can go pop and get hundreds of millions of users in no time at all and become the fastest growing company of all time. One of my fears is that this disruption takes place at a speed where we can't transition.
And that was, that I think you said that sentence in the passive voice. The transition would happen at a speed, but who is driving that speed? It's the companies.
The companies,
and their race with one another.
Yeah.
And so they are driving the transition to happen at a speed at which
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, and I'm the CEO of Phoenix Energy. I look forward.
It would be really hard to take care of all of the people that would be bulldozed over by.
This is one of the crazy questions that no one can answer for me when I sit with these people that are AI CEOs. I go, so what happens to the people if you agree that this is going to happen at super speed? I spoke to that CEO of Uber, Dara, who said very similar things to what you're saying. Is there'll be data labeling jobs, for example, for the drivers, but they can't all become data labelers. And there's a question around meaning and purpose and fulfillment, and that comes from losing your meaning in life. I also sit here with so many people who talk about how their father lost their job in Iran or some other country. And
hold on, give me a second real quick. I just want to... Y'all gotta prep, just in case the next time I go live, just put it that way. Purpose and passion. Purpose is what will guide you to your best self, and the passion will keep you there. She got some quotes now. I'm reading. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. Look at Eleanor. Stop playing with her. I don't even think I had an Eleanor quote. I may have now. I'm just saying. It's possible. I do take heed to who said it now. Let me see. I'm just reading for extracurricular activity. Purpose is the ultimate fuel for our journey through life. When we drive with purpose, we don't get tired or bored, and our engines don't burn out. Okay, that's good. Oh, well, I already got my quote. So the purpose of life is a life of purpose. Okay. Something for which one is responsible, one's not, just divinely assigned. Okay. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. Who said that? Buddha. I found you a quote. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul. You need to learn how to read. need to learn to read. I'm going on 2 hours. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose. They don't have no commas or nothing. Ain't get no semicolon, ain't get no dash or nothing. Like, give me a comma. Your purpose in life, comma, is to find your purpose, dash, and give your whole heart and soul to it. Could have given me a comma somewhere.
Into the United States and had to be a toilet cleaner on a particular case, was a doctor in Iran, but came to the US and was a toilet cleaner and had to deal with the sense of shame that particular person felt and the lack of dignity that caused and how that made that person's self-esteem feel and the depression and alcoholism that transpired from that. If this happens at a large scale across society, there's going to be a ton of consequences like that.
I mean, this is like the core themes of my work, and the reason why I'm critical of these companies is that they are creating technologies in a way that creates the haves and have-nots in an extreme form that we have. It's exacerbating the inequality that we already see in the world. Like, the people who have things will have way more riches. They'll have way more free time. They'll be allowed to be more human. But the people who don't have things are even being squeezed even more. And it's not just from a work perspective. I mean, I talk in my book also about the environmental and public health crisis that these companies have created, where they are building these colossal supercomputer facilities and in communities all around the world. And they specifically pick some of the most vulnerable communities. We're sitting in Texas right now. OpenAI's one of its largest data center projects is being built in Abilene, Texas, as part of the Stargate initiative, which was an effort announced at the beginning of Trump's second administration to spend $500 billion on AI computing infrastructure. This facility when it's finished, will consume more than a gigawatt of power, which is over 20%. Over 20%. So this is actually a little bit inaccurate now. This was something that circulated online for a while, but there's updated numbers.
Just for someone that can't see, because they're listening on Spotify or something, it's a picture of the size of this facility.
So this is not the Abilene, Texas one. This is a Meta facility.
Oh.
So let's just talk about OpenAI's facility in Texas. That one would be the size of Central Park, and it would run 1 million computer chips, and it would require the power of more than 20% of New York City.
Do you know one of the things which I found confusing, so I'd like to alleviate the dissonance,
Sure.
is I thought you were saying earlier that you didn't think the job disruption promises were real.
No, what I was saying is that when we...
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making.
Talk about what these executives predict about the future, we need to understand that they are ultimately trying to influence the public in a way that allows them to continue maintaining control over the technology.
But objectively, do you think that the job disruption that they talk about,
I mean, I mentioned
real?
Well,
Not
I don't
necessarily.
want to comment specifically on this chart, but it's we've already seen in job reports that there is a restructuring of the economy happening right now. Yeah.
Okay.
But going back to the data center, so this supercomputer facility, it's a Meta supercomputer facility, is being built in Louisiana, and it would be 4 times the size of the Abilene, Texas one, and use half of the average power demand of New York City. So it's 1/5 the size of Manhattan. This makes it seem like almost all of Manhattan, but it would be 1/5 the size of Manhattan. When these facilities go into these communities, what happens? Power utility increases, grid reliability decreases. The facilities also need fresh water to generate the power for powering them, as well as fresh water to cool. And there have been lots of documented stories of communities that are already really constrained in their fresh water resource. They're under a drought when a facility comes in. And then there are people, the community is actually competing with this facility for fresh water. I talk about one of those communities in my book. And also, sometimes these facilities, instead of connecting to the grid, they instead a power plant pops up next to it. So in Memphis, Tennessee, where Musk built Colossus.
I was trying to figure out where the hell he had built that damn Tennessee. Didn't I say we were south? yesterday? I said we was out, but we wasn't south. I was close. Did I say Tennessee yesterday? I forgot what I had said yesterday. I knew it was something. I knew it was somewhere. Did I say Memphis?
The supercomputer for training Grok. He used 35 methane gas turbines to power the
turbines. What I said, I can't remember what I said yesterday. I remember reading this article. Somebody actually made like a YouTube video about it. And of course it went viral because it was like a big thing down there. Up there technically, because I'm in Georgia, so technically Memphis. I mean, she like up and over, like, you know, next door.
This is a working class community, a black and brown community, a rural community that was not even told that they would be the hosts of this facility. And they discovered it because they literally smelled what seemed like a gas leak.
Man, it was so traumatizing. Going outside and you just smelling gas in the air. Just imagine for people who like have to work outside, you know what I mean, to be subjected like to the gas. Man, then you got all these people with all these respiratory issues all of a sudden. Oh my goodness, I feel like I said Memphis yesterday, but I can't quite remember.
All of their living rooms. And that's when they discovered that these methane gas turbines were taking away their right to clean air. And this is a community that's already been facing a history of environmental racism. They had already had lots of struggles to access their right to clean air. And now there's this huge supercomputer.
Because he got that land that he paid to build that Grok. What they say, pennies on the dollar for that land. And we talk about Memphis.
In their midst that is pumping thousands of tons of toxins into their air, exacerbating the asthmatic symptoms of the children, exacerbating the respiratory illnesses of other people. It's one of the communities that has the highest rates of lung cancer. And
that supercomputers taking their jobs.
And then they also have supercomputers taking their jobs. So this is...
What? That was your pivot?
I mean, it's like the haves and have-nots are fundamentally being pulled apart even further. Like, if you, in this version of Silicon Valley's future, are in the misfortunate category of being a have-not, we are talking about you now getting a job that is way worse than what you had because you might be doing data annotation and you might be treated as a machine rather than as a human to extract value, the value of your labor for perpetuating this labor automating machine that these people are building. You might be competing with these facilities for fresh water resources. They're also polluting your air. Your bills have increased, so the affordability crisis is getting worse. Like, how is that making people able to be more human?
What do we do about it?
Yes. Okay. So one of the analogies that I always use is AI is like the word transportation. Transportation can literally refer to everything from a bicycle to a rocket. And we have nuanced conversations about transportation where we always say we need to transition our transportation towards more sustainable options. We need to transition towards, public transport, electric vehicles. And we don't ever say everyone should get a rocket to serve all of their transportation needs, right? Like, we're in Austin. If you use a rocket to fly from Dallas to Austin, like, that would just make no sense. It's just a disproportionate use of resources to get the benefit of getting from point A to point B. This is how we should think about AI. So all of the models that we've been talking about, I like to think of them as the rockets of AI. They use an extraordinary amount of resources and they provide benefit, some dramatic benefit to some people, but they're also exacting an extraordinary cost on a large swath of people because of the like the costs of developing this technology. Why don't we build more bicycles of AI? This is things like DeepMind's AlphaFold, which is a system that predicts how proteins will fold based on amino acid sequences. It's really important for accelerating drug discovery, for understanding human disease, and it won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2024. And the reason why it's a bicycle of AI is because you're using small curated data sets.
Base 44 super agents, the next thing you can't live without. No setup. Just say hello.
You just have data that has amino acid sequences and protein folding. So that means you need significantly less computational resources to develop the system, which means significantly less energy, which means less emissions, so on and so forth. And you're providing enormous benefit to people.
It feels like the horse has left the stable in this regard, because they've already taken people's IP, they've taken media. They train on this podcast. We know they do, because it shows that they do. I think there's a button actually in the back end of YouTube now that allows you just to click it, and it says, "We will train on your YouTube channel." So the horse is kind of left.
Here's the thing: if the horse truly had left the stables, they wouldn't have to train on anything anymore. Why is it that their appetite for data has actually expanded? It's because in order to build the next generations of their technologies, in order to have the technologies continue to be relevant and continue to update with the pace of new knowledge creation and society's evolvement, they need to train again and again and again and again. And why are they employing actually more and more and more data annotation workers over time? It's because they need more and more of that work over time. I mean, I've been reporting on data annotation work for over 7 years now, and it's not gone down. It's increased.
Do you think there's any chance of it going down? Do you think there's any chance of this sort of brute force scaling approach where you take data, you take computational power, energy, and you have the data labelers and building out more and more parameters for the models? Do you think there's any chance it's going to stop or go in a different direction other than the one it's going in now?
I would love to reframe the question and say, what should we be doing in this moment where it's not going down? Where we do recognize that actually these companies in this moment need continued resources, inputs, and labor to perpetuate what they are doing.
Yeah, because this sounds like stop. And I just feel like stop is like a hard, it feels like, I just think, with the government in place, they're supporting these companies like crazy. Globally, this is happening. So I'm like, stop doesn't feel.
I always say we need to break up the empire and we need to develop alternatives. And we are already seeing a flourishing of incredible grassroots movements that are applying an enormous amount of pressure to the way that the empire is trying to unfold its agenda. 80% of Americans in the most recent poll think that the AI industry needs to be regulated.
Yeah.
When was the last time that 80% of Americans were on the same side of an issue?
No, yeah. When I have these conversations on the podcast, the comment section are clear.
Yeah.
There's no disagreement. There's no one in there going, "Oh no, I think they should crack on."
Yeah. Dozens of protests against data centers have broken out all around this country and the US, all around the world.
So what do we do about it?
So these are people that are doing something about it. Right. They are actually reasserting their agency and exercising democratic contestation against the ways that the empires are going about their business.
And what goal should we be aiming at? So if I said to my audience, Janet at home, because this is kind of what I see in the comments, it's hopelessness. It's like, what can I do? I'm just a...
Yeah, well, the goal is not that we completely get rid of this technology. The goal is that these companies need to stop being empires. And the way I define like a typical business versus an empire is that the empires are predicated on this idea that they do not have to provide a fair exchange of value with the workers who work for them or the people who use them or all of the other people that are involved in the supply chain of producing and deploying these technologies. They can extract and exploit and get more value than what they offer. Whereas typical businesses, there's a fair exchange. You buy a service, you feel like you got the same amount of value as the service that you provided. But like for these data annotation workers, for example, they do not feel in any way that they're being paid the same value that they provide to these companies. So that's like, for me, the North Star is like, we should be pushing back and holding accountable these companies when they operate in an imperial way. And that's what we've seen with all of these people that are now literally protesting in the streets against data centers and having an enormous effect, by the way, actually stalling data center projects and also completely banning data centers from being developed in their localities. We're seeing that with artists and writers that are suing these companies for intellectual property infringement and creating a huge public conversation about what is it that how do we actually want to protect our intellectual property. It's like 3 weeks ago, I met Megan Garcia, who is the mother of Sewell Setzer III, who is the 14-year-old who died by suicide after being sexually groomed by a character AI's chatbot. And she, when that happened, I mean, obviously was incredibly devastated by what had happened to her son. She also decided to do something about it. She sued the companies, and that lawsuit then sparked many other parents and families who were actually experiencing similar things to sue these companies as well. That has created an enormous public conversation about what these companies are actually doing when they exploit and they extract. What is the cost to the lives of people around the world, including children?
So what do you think my audience should do? If they agree with everything written in your book, Empire of AI.
This AI can forecast U.S. stock prices to the penny. This is where it says NVIDIA stock will close tomorrow. You can view this forecast right now for free by clicking
Dreams and Nightmares in Sam Altman's OpenAI. If they agree with everything said here, if they agree with everything we've discussed today, they're concerned about their kids, they don't want everyone to become data labelers, they don't think that's a particularly great solution. What can they actually go and do?
When I was writing the book, the only discourse that was happening was, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Because of all of the actions of these people, like saying when they're not happy with the things that these companies are doing, we now have 80% of Americans that want to regulate this industry. And so I would say to people, think about all of the ways that your life intersects with the resources and that the AI industry needs to perpetuate what they do, and also the spaces that they would need to deploy these technologies to continue having broad-based adoption in their work. So you're a data donor to these companies. You could withhold that data, and that's what those artists and writers are doing. Like, they're suing these companies to try and create mechanisms by which that data would then be withheld. You probably have a data center popping up around you. If you're at a school environment or a company environment, you're probably having a discussion in those environments right now about what should the AI adoption policy be. And these companies, I was talking with some OpenAI employees just the other day, and they were telling me that it's understood internally that the revenue targets for the company are extraordinary, and they need things to go flawlessly for it to all work out. And so they would need every single person to adopt this, every single space to adopt this. They would need to be able to build their data centers at the speed that they're trying to build them. And so what I would say to everyone of your viewers is, let's not make it go flawlessly if we don't agree with what they are doing.
Okay, I got you.
Look, I'm like, exactly. I believe I said that like 2 days ago. I'm like, you can't be working for these people and then complaining with these people about these people. I'm like, y'all the ones that's trying to make it seem like it's the best thing since sliced bread, but then why is Georgia Power talking about? Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Because Georgia Power just want to make it sound all cute and all sweet. Oh, we got all of these possible contracts coming up, and everybody want a data center. Oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? We have to talk to the commissioner and see what are we gonna do. And I'm like, don't bleep up my light bill. No. No, don't worry. This isn't gonna affect you guys at all. We just want to get them contracts. you know this is gonna affect us. I don't know why y'all be.
And then let's build alternatives, because the thing is, what I'm saying is not that these technologies don't have utility. It's that specifically the political economy that has emerged to support the production of these technologies right now is exacting a lot of harm on people. But we have research that shows that the very same capabilities could be developed with much more efficient methods, with much less resource consumption. And we have a lot of different other AI systems at our disposal that are like the bicycles of AI that we also know provide extraordinary benefit at very little cost. So let's break up the empire and let's forge new paths of AI development that are brought.
Charlie, it sound good, Karen, but honey, it's too late now. I mean, I don't know, Karen. She probably talking about 10, 20 plus years. She talking about ChatGPT. She's talking about OpenAI, which is the same people, but still. You know, once Google got on, and they got their little AI model that pop up every time you prompt something. They little did they come up on this one? I didn't even get it on here. Oh, come on, Yahoo. My bad. I'll be thinking of Google. I think Yahoo got one too. I think Yahoo got one? I'll be thinking about my phone. Everybody got a little AI model. Once, you know, because Elon, he had to get his.
Beneficial to everyone.
Oh no.
It's strange. I've trained myself to deal with dichotomies in my head. And this, for me, is a dichotomy where
you learn to train yourself with dichotomies in your head. That is a very interesting way of saying that you be playing mind games with yourself. I'm gonna just put that out there now. I'm gonna just put that out there, because stop trying to make it seem like I'm the only one that be on the mind games. I'm like, dichotomy.
As a CEO and as a founder, as an entrepreneur and someone that loves technology, I think it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, AI. It's just so amazing and incredible. The things it's enabled me to do and create.
Yeah, because it's designed to enable people like you.
And my car driving in the morning and being safer, incredible. I think, the billion odd people that use AI tools or ChatGPT or whatever it might be, they'd probably say that it's added value to their life. But, and this is the part that people find confusing, that you can, and I invest in companies that are, heavily using AI. And the big but is it possible to think that is true and also think that there are significant unintended consequences which technology and the history of technology should have taught us to take a moment to pause to talk about?
That's the dichotomy. And I'm glad that he was able to sit and talk with Karen about this particular subject matter, because he is someone that actually uses AI and has accepted it and has welcomed it, and then, of course, explored all the different avenues of it. And then he's took it a step further and he has started to invest in it. So, of course, this is someone that you would want to talk to. Because that's the dichotomy. You're talking to someone who is to Karen. He talking to Karen, and Karen is like, "Whew, I'm gonna get her."
Because
I think this is absolutely like you can have both of these things in your head, and what I'm saying is that this tension doesn't have to be a tension, because we could actually preserve the utility and benefits of these technologies, but actually develop and design them in a different way that doesn't have all of these unintended consequences.
Yes, and I think there needs to be a big social conversation, which is why I have so many conversations about AI in the show. Like, there needs to be a big social conversation about being intentional about the social impact, the social and environmental impact. And that conversation is not being had in in government, from what I can see.
Right.
The conversation takes place in the industry,
Mm.
and actually trying to pull it out of the industry and open people's minds to it is hopefully what we've been doing over the last couple of months with this subject. Because
I think it's actually been happening everywhere outside of the industry. And for local governments and state level governments, there have been huge conversations about this. Everywhere, like I've been on book tour, I've been to dozens of cities around the world. People are having these crucial conversations everywhere. I have not gone to a single city.
Yeah, it's everywhere, even here in South by.
Yeah, I haven't gone to a single city where the room is not packed and people are not wrestling with the same exact questions as every other person in every other room that I've been in.
Speaking of packed rooms, I know you've got to go because you've got to talk today. So we've got a last question, which is the closing tradition on this podcast. How would your advice to a friend with a terminal diagnosis differ from what you would do yourself? That's a great question.
Differ from what you would do yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would tell them enjoy, live life for yourself.
You wouldn't do it.
And take it easy. And yeah, I'm not taking it easy.
Well, I think it's a good thing you're not taking it easy because you're leading a conversation which is incredibly important. And I think that's the thing. I think the conversation is the important thing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so, because of algorithms and echo chambers, it's so rare to have a conversation these days, especially a long form one
I agree,
like
yeah.
this. So I think they're so important. And your book is, for anyone that's curious about, I think a lot of people would have learned a lot of stuff today because I sit here and interview AI people all the time. And I've learned so much today from reading your book and the extensive objective perspective that your book takes. You're able to unravel all of these stories that we sometimes see in tweets and we don't know if they're true or not because you've gone and met the people and you've done your research and you're an incredibly intelligent person, extremely intelligent person who clearly has humanity's interests as your North Star. And that shows up in everything you do and everything you say. So please continue to fight in the way that you are because it's an incredibly important one. It's people like you that are, I think, galvanizing the world to take the collective action that we're starting to see everywhere.
Yeah.
Empire of AI, Dreams and Nightmares in Sam Altman's OpenAI by Karen Howe. I'll link it below for anyone that wants to read this book. I highly recommend you do it. It's a New York Times bestseller for good reason. Karen, thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
YouTube have this new crazy algorithm where they know exactly what video you would like to watch next based on AI and all of your viewing.
Scrolling, you know how this will go. See what I mean? He done already went on to the next one. Now we got an insider. That just dropped. And I got gas because I need to stand up. Let's watch Nikki real quick before I go. Let me. She got on all white, bow tie, swoops, bang or something. Just give me a second. Don't press the space bar because that doesn't work on YouTube Shorts. Just give me a second and let me see what we're doing today. Okay, kitchen hands. We're cleaning. We're cooking. Okay. She do have to scrub under the nails. Okay. Oh, that pantry. Oh, I love that white dress. I like her little bow. Ribs. Gloves. Refrigerator. Limes. Marinade. Vinegar. Look like it. Let's see. Limes and lime juice. I believe it's vinegar. Oh, she cleaning them ribs. And she trimming them. I don't know the season she grabbing so damn fast. She ain't showing us shit. I can just guess. Is that rosemary? Paprika? Oil? I don't know what kind of oil. If it's vegetable. Rackery. Okay, so she's just throwing them in the oven. I thought she was gonna put them on the grill. Rice? Gotta be. No pasta. Rotini. Okay. Stream. Ooh. They got that up. They ain't done. Cucumbers. Red onion. Kobe Jack. Salad. Gotta be. Okay. Great cherries. Ooh. Careful. Kobe Jack. Oh. Pasta salad. My bad. Ooh. Mayonnaise. Gotta be mayonnaise. Pasta salad. Gotcha. Butter. I melted. Okay. What are we? Who was that? Was that Tabitha? Don't damn skip Tab like that. I believe that's Tab. I'm trying to catch. God damn it! I can't catch it. I'm trying to catch Tab. She don't. It's Tab. I know Tabitha. What's Tab line? Something about your business. Oh, that's fancy. Okay, son, making a cameo. Cheesecake, no bake, blueberries, strawberries, Driscoll's, pound bread, blackberries, Cool Whip. Okay. Oh, wee wee. Yummy. Put it in the refrigerator, let it chill. Freezer, same thing. We done. We done. What did y'all cook today? I didn't cook nothing. So good. I'm giving my shoulders a break. I'm gonna get up out of here. In the meantime.
All right, Atlanta. I'm not gonna do too much.
I'm gonna up out of here.
We have built an honest.
I'm gonna get on up out of here. In between time. Love you. Bye.